I have questions to ask you, but might as well wait until we start the show.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we're counting the number of sleeps until Disney Plus launches.
Or if you're a member of the classic Full House cast, you might ask how many episodes of Sesame Street until Disney Plus. I remember that being a meter of time back in the day.
You can't use that. That's HBO Max property now, Mike. The streaming wars have taken it away from us.
Yeah, I don't even know. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know how long an episode of Sesame Street is. Like, because it was like a PBS show, right? So did it have commercials? So was it a strict 30 minutes or was it like 22 or
yeah, but the
was
commercials were like the letter B. this episode brought to you by the letter B.
This is why we don't use Sesame Street as a constant for time anymore.
Yeah. Really, that was a horrible thing, Mike. We'll just let it go. How many in games till
geez. Or The Irishman, if we wanna make it shorter.
Nope, that's Netflix. Can't do that either. Speaking of, Moon Knight and She-Hulk get official writers for their shows, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, but this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, these are kind of like I don't want to say prestige writers, but these writers got nerd cred to them.
Yeah, very, very exciting there. More people, bigger name actors are joining the Batman cast as we speak, and more.
I forgot about that Batman news. Like, I feel like it was like changing throughout the week, so I just didn't even follow it. I was like, I'll just wait till Sunday. Chris will let me know where this actor has landed, because I saw some people like tweeting like retractions. No, this person is not playing this character. So, that's why I'm also a listener and participator of this show, because I get to learn what's going on.
How many times have you gone back and listened to the show, Mike?
Oh, it's so hard to listen to my own voice. See, I just listen in real time. The podcast is always live for me.
Oh, yeah, it's all live. Right here, in the moment. Be in the zone. So, right before we got on the show, I just got to say, and I want to share people with what I tasted, Mike, because, this week has been a interesting week of flavors, if you will, for me.
Okay.
And I walked into an FYE, if anyone's familiar with those, this week, and I was looking for a record player, to be honest, which I did find at where did I end up buying that at? Target. Bought one at Target. But they had a Mountain Dew Violet, which is from Japan, and it says with great flavor. And I tried it out, and let me tell you, it tastes a lot like what I say, Pitch Black. The grape, a little more milder. I'm really surprised to know there's only 70 calories in this can of Mountain Dew from Japan, Mike.
Is there like artificial sweeteners packed into it?
I'm trying to read. Their labels over there are way different on the back here. Sugar is 18 grams. So,
all right.
It feels a little less sweet, so that. And then I topped it off by chasing it with a jalapeno and onion Pringle can I have here. So, also from Japan. It was at our egg sandwich, and let me tell you, I know we're not in person when we record this, Mike, but I did not want you smelling that egg sandwich breath across this microphone.
Chris, you're the most multicultural snacker in your state of Kentucky right now.
It's true. And then what did I have? What did I have on Thursday night, or was it Friday night? Where I sent over the photo to you was cheddar cheese and horseradish potato chips from a company called Grippo's, they make a lot of those here. So I was like, I'll give this a try. I'm feeling wild. Feeling frisky. So.
You're on an international snack walkabout, and you're also doing some time lapse video this week too.
Yes. So a couple weeks ago, I mentioned my trip to IKEA to buy some shelves. Finally put them up. Rearranged some pop vinyls that did not have a home, and I decided, I'm like, you know what, this is going to take me a minute. I'm either going to look goofy as hell, or this is going to be really cool. There was no in between on this video. So I videotaped myself going and grabbing the pop vinyls and putting them up on the shelf. I've got all the Captain Marvel set, all these gold chromes, and if you watch closely, you can see me shoving an endless amount of in-game pots behind the chrome ones because those just didn't stop coming. I got Venom series, I got the 80th anniversary of Marvel, and big old Thanos. So it was fun.
I don't want to spoil anything if listeners haven't gotten around to watching the new Watchmen series yet, but there's a certain character who has servants in the show, and I feel like if you were that character, you would just have the servants daily just rotate your pops for you. So you'd have like just a creed of like every time I walk into this room, I want to see different pops, and so they'd just be like your randomizers.
Well, exactly, and also they could take them out and dust them, which I probably need to do a few of them. If I had that much, if I had servants, I probably just have a whole hallway of pop vinyls, Mike, rather than this little bitty office.
I just remember when I sold my Conan O'Brien pop outside of the show at Comic-Con this year. Like the second I got the money from the guy, he took the pop and instantaneously put it into like a plastic container to like protect it from the world, to protect his investment. It was just man, the pop world's crazy. I think there's a Funko Pop store that's opening like a brick and mortar in Los Angeles, I think next week. So they're I don't know if they have normal brick and mortar around. I mean, I know they're in stores, but
I think they have like just their main office up in Seattle is what where I say it. Do you remember which Conan you had this year?
I think I had the Woody.
The Toy Story one. Mm-hmm. I was gonna see what the value of that.
You're gonna see what bad decision I made.
No, I want to actually know if he made a bad investment. Because sometimes those go down much quicker. I'm seeing $100 here in a protective sleeve is the first one.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't even remember how much I got for it. It was either like $40 or $60.
Yeah, and then here's one on eBay that's like $50. Like the prices on these things are all purely what people want to make of them.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest problem I have with like, any sort of collecting and wanting to sell it is I just don't have the ambition to sell anything. I would never want to turn anything over because it's just like, oh God, okay, I got to make an eBay account that sells stuff. I got to figure out how to sell things. I got to write up the description. I got to take the pictures. Then I got to like, whatever money I make, I got to calculate how much eBay is going to take from me. Then I got to go to the post office and ship this thing out. And then I'm just in this weird zone for like the next week, just making sure it made it to the person, and then hopefully they don't just get it and try to scam me out of the money. So it's just like all of this is like not worth like maybe the $40 in profit I could make from it. So it's just not in my DNA. But I'm guessing these people are working in volume, not necessarily in just one Conan Woody a year,
Yeah, and it looks like maybe people who, what I see is people who will buy. Like me, I stick to my Marvel set, right? Some people just go out and buy all of them, which are popular at the moment, and then try to resell them. The New York Comic Con had a Stan Lee from his Guardians 2 in that little astronaut outfit, and that was going for like $80, and now it's like hitting stores regularly for $15. So everyone's like, why did I buy this at the gate? Like, scarcity. And I'm like, yep, you're all dumb. So... So whatever. Mike, what have you been up to this week? It's one of those weeks.
Well, I wanted to give a shout out to a YouTube channel which has been fascinating me recently. I didn't know there was a whole cereal community on YouTube. And I came across this one channel called Cereal Time, which is this guy who produces maybe like 10 or 15-minute videos where he like just reviews cereal, very earnestly. Like he actually really likes the cereal, and he's very poignant. He's not just like some dude with just like a shitty webcam, and he's just kind of like randomly bumbling through a review. Like he knows what he's doing. He's a huge cereal aficionado. Like he calls himself a cereal head, just like people out there who are sneakerheads. So you might watch one video where he's reviewing like a brand new cereal that just hit a shelf, which kind of reminds me of just the two of us when a new snack comes to a shelf. We like to talk about it at the top of the show. He'll go back in the archives and like the Kellogg's archives like exists, and he's visited it, and like he's well enough known to where like the archive people will like show him this stuff that's like buried deep in their shelves. So he'll like review like older cereals. He doesn't eat the older cereals anymore. He'll say in a lot of his newer videos, now, I used to eat older cereal, but it never tastes good, so I'm not doing it anymore. So he'll go through, and he'll even bring in like a macro lens on his camera to zoom in on the cereal bit. So it's just really fascinating to see somebody nerd out over one very specific thing. And I was watching, I went through like maybe 20 of his videos until he just like subtly dropped that he's actually a writer on the new like Wu-Tang TV series that's it's on Hulu. So that was just like shocking that this man already has like a full-time lucrative like writing job in Hollywood, but it's like one of his real passions is reviewing cereal. So I would go check out Cereal Time on YouTube. Chris, are you a cereal guy?
I like it, but I don't obsess over it. So I don't know if this would be my alley. I'll give him 1.
Well, he's got, if I can give you one takeaway from this guy, his favorite types of cereal are cinnamon sugar cereals. So if you ever see a new cinnamon sugar type cereal on the shelf, he's going to analyze it in depth. And the cereal he hates the most, that he rags on almost every single episode, like we might rag on a Batman vs Superman or a Justice League, if you will, or a Suicide Squad, is the I think it's Kellogg's Crave cereal. Have you seen those?
I've heard of it. It doesn't sound.
Yeah,
like,
he hates them. He hates them with a passion. So I guess maybe that could be a takeaway: is just steer clear of the Crave cereal. I guess maybe if it's on sale, maybe give it a shot. But go check out Cereal Time.
Do they still make corn pops? Is my question of the week.
Yeah, not only do they make corn pops still, but they have like a new flavor I saw on the shelf like 2 weeks ago. It's like chocolate peanut butter corn pops. So they don't just have them; they're innovating on them, Chris. They're iterating.
Wait, someone we were talking about the other day, and one of the people in my department, he's my age, so we were like corn pops, and the younger people were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I understand that." So.
Okay, boomer in your corn pops.
Yeah, really, pretty much. I'm the worst, bringing up cereals from the mid-90s. Or the original Cookie Crisp, where they were like, it was like wasn't a dog, and it was like in police attire, or like robber attire, or escaped criminal attire. And I'm like, man, these cereal things were crazy back in the 90s. The cereal wars have subsided greatly, but, it's still going.
And I wanted to give an interesting shout out to a Netflix movie that just dropped this weekend called Let It Snow. It's definitely a movie geared towards like teenagers.
May I give you its real title?
Oh, okay.
Lay Tits Now.
Lay Tits Now. What is that?
Have you never seen the Saturday Night Live where it's Sean Connery doing the thing, and one of the categories is Let It Snow, but the letters are squished together, so it says Lay Tits Now.
Oh, from the Jeopardy sketch.
Yeah,
okay.
that's I saw this. I know nothing about this movie, but I saw the title referenced in that manner already, so I just want to. That's my input. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the wife and I are starting to get into the Christmas season because we have this long runway until we get to Thanksgiving. So I feel like all of these brands and corporations are just like sometimes we feign restraint by not putting stuff out too soon, but they're like, we've lost a week between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year to make money. So I think they're just going all out and just leaning into November. So I think Netflix is going to have like something new every week. So their Christmas movie this week was called Let It Snow, and it's a serviceable kind of like romantic comedy teen coming of age Christmas story. It's not like the tightest movie I've ever watched, but there's some jokes in there. But just watch it for the pure sake of everyone on screen is going to drive you crazy because they all look familiar, but you won't know where they're from. Like, this is a movie that would fare very well on Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime has that feature where every time you pause it, it tells you who's in it. So, like, every other scene, I was whipping up IMDb going, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? What's his name? Shamik Moore, the voice of Miles Morales.
Miles, yeah.
Yeah, he's in this movie. One of the characters from the canceled show Santa Cleared a Diet on Netflix, which I love that show. There's a character from there in it. Ned/Genki, as I like to call him, from Spider-Man: Homecoming. He's in the show.
He does more movies than Spider-Man. Nice.
He's the actress that plays Sabrina in the new Netflix show is on here, and Joan Cusack's in it. So there's just a ton of people that's just like, where have I seen you before? So that'll just drive you crazy because no one's like so famous where you can just like place them. So if you just kind of need a movie to start getting in the Christmas spirit, maybe check out Let It Snow. But this last bit of riffraff I think will dovetail very nicely into our first bit of news.
Go on.
Because this weekend is my birthday, and we are celebrating by going to Disneyland. So I'm finally going to be able to check out Star Wars Land. So the big flagship ride at Star Wars Land does not open, I believe, until the beginning of 2020. It might be January or February. So it's just the Millennium Falcon ride that's down there. But there's also all of the other beautiful attractions that I've yet to see. There's like a cantina there, so now I can get drunk at Star Wars Land if I want to. So I'm going to check out all this weekend. And it's just going to end up being a very Disney-fied weekend because just days before I go down to Disneyland, we're going to have the launch of Disney+.
You need to have your shirt that says, I'm a Disney Plus subscriber when you go in there. See what kind of treatment they give you.
I'm just going to like strut into the line. Excuse me, I'm a Disney Plus subscriber. I get to the front of the line.
Exactly. I've seen The Mandalorian. Please, I need to get into the Star Wars land. Well, happy upcoming birthday, Mike. If everyone sends your birthday wishes to Mike, so he can enjoy his Disneyland, knowing we all love him. And
I'll do my best to report back next week because I believe they have started construction on the Marvel stuff in California Adventure. So I'm gonna like be peeking through the fences, through the chain link to see if I can spot anything that looks like anything. But I have a feeling they have that all locked down pretty well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sometimes. I mean, I could see a lot of Star Wars Land when I went to Disney last winter myself. So it all depends on how far they are. But yeah, do some peeks. Do some. Hold your phone up real high over the gate there and see what.
I will be coming back with a review for Blue Milk, so don't worry.
Okay, great. That's really all we need. I need you also to do the Green Milk.
Okay, I'll do both milks.
So anyway, Disney Plus, like Mike said, does launch Tuesday. We have confirmation that this launches at 9 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday morning. So
God bless those servers. I'm more curious about the functionality of just downloading the app. Like I could see like having the app downloaded and trying to stream stuff could be difficult, but on launch, I'm not even sure if it's going to be on PlayStation right at launch. I'm assuming it will be safely on Roku since Roku has a pretty good market penetration, so I can always just use my Roku if I have to. But I'm hoping it's ready for PlayStation. I was almost kind of hoping they would start to let you download the app maybe a week ahead of time, and then just when you ran it, you just were given like a countdown screen or something like that.
They probably will. I mean, they could do that tomorrow. Monday or maybe even later today for that, but I mean I'm pretty sure everything I don't know if the gaming things are on the launch day was the thing I was trying to look up because we use our Xbox to watch stuff on as well sometimes, but I was just trying to see what day it would be available, but
Isn't it strange just to be part of the launch of a streaming service? Because between the two of us, we were not worried about the servers when the DC Universe app launched. I don't think there was ever going to be like a crushing demand that was going to melt down their CPUs over there. And just Netflix has just kind of perpetually existed for a really long time. They had the definition of a soft launch for their streaming service, and then HBO's just been around forever. Their app is just iterating off of their app that was just for subscribers through cable. So I think this is the first time that we've really ever had the launch of a streaming service kind of like day zero type of situation. So it's going to be a learning experience for all of us.
Yeah, at least one we're all anxiously waiting for. If it was something a little different, I'd probably be like, yeah, you're right. But I mean, we are so excited for this one. It's just I don't want it to be, again, like we said, mired by anything, hiccups or loss of service.
What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna expect the worst. I'm just gonna assume that I probably can't watch The Mandalorian until like Wednesday or Thursday, and then if I get to watch it on Tuesday, that's just a plus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna it's gonna be a weird thing. Like once I get done with episode 1 of The Mandalorian, what do I watch next on there? I might spend more time perusing the content than actually watching it on Tuesday. Well,
also, I mean, if you can't get around to watching it on Tuesday, you could just save it and then watch the first 2 episodes on Friday.
Yes, exactly, because again, streaming into our next notes here, the second episode of Mandalorian will be November 15th, and they will be weekly after that through December 27th. So we will get to see all of the Mandalorian through the rest of the year, and wrapping up the last episode around 1 week after The Rise of Skywalker hits theaters.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, I wasn't expecting any sort of like sophisticated tie-in between The Mandalorian and The Rise of Skywalker. Like, oh, the last episode will wrap up and then we'll go into Star Wars. So it seems like it's just going to be a very consistent stream of Star Wars until the very, very end of 2019.
Yes, and that's perfectly fine with me because The Mandalorian looks good. I'm excited to see Star Wars in theater again. And we don't have anything Marvel until May. So what do we do? What do we look forward to? But anyway, speaking of Marvel here, I mean, there are going to be, apparently, according to Bob Iger, who's probably on a press train this week for Disney Plus, that more MCU films will be added to Disney Plus after the launch. But we add more on the day of, because I sent you this list of movies that had been we talked about, it was 5 or 6, and now there's maybe 10 movies on there now.
Yeah, it's gotta be like the one kind of moment of tension that's probably in the back of Bob Iger's mind, is like, yes, he can sell all of this premium content, but like he can't sell anything that he doesn't have right now, and he knows everybody's going to be opening up the Disney Plus app between like now and the end of the year, and the first thing that they're going to do is look through the catalog, and they're going to navigate all the way to the Marvel section, and I'm assuming there's going to be a certain percentage of people out there that think they're going to hit that Marvel button, they're going to see every single Marvel movie in the catalog, and they're going to kind of see this fractured catalog at the very beginning. They're probably going to be kind of pissed off. They're going to be like, wait, I paid for this? Like, I can't even watch Infinity War. I can only watch Endgame. What's going on here? I mean, and the best thing that you could tell them is just like, just wait. There's a whole contractual obligation where you have to wait for Infinity War to leave Netflix. I think it might end at the end of the calendar year, but there could be a little carryover that maybe they don't have it until January. So it is kind of weird that you have this epic kind of like 2-part conclusion and you can only watch part 2. So it is a little strange, and so I think Bob Iger is just worried about communicating that across the people, because it's not a complete catalog yet. It's not going to sure up until probably another 2 or 3 years. Right.
And honestly, that it's a twofold thing. With Endgame being added a month early, that's great, because we were expecting it to be December. But while it may suck not being out at once, at least it's a little bit of trickle, a little bit of release, because if you had everything out at once, what keeps you coming back over the next few months? So maybe they're like, hey, we're gonna add this and this and here and there. I did read that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the most popular MCU series on the streaming service so far.
Yeah, I saw that over like in the test markets that they've been doing, like was it like the Netherlands or something?
Yeah, Netherlands had it for about a month now, or 2 months.
Yeah, I'm curious exactly like what that is. I wonder if maybe it's just these people are getting like a brand new app and they're seeing this new catalog and they're just like, oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess I never gave that a shot. Maybe I should watch it. Maybe people are just rediscovering Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or this could be twofold. They're counting a number of views, which if you're watching episodes, you just let it play, right? So that'd be more views. Or time watch, it's easier to watch 3 episodes of a TV series in one movie sometimes. So
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pull too much from these stats saying that like, oh, this is going to revive and save the show.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
I think if it was to do anything at all, maybe it could greenlight some sort of limited series spinoff with the characters, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like maybe Quake could possibly move into the MCU larger, but I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be ending its tenure here.
Yeah, well, we know it's got one more season left, and it is the final season, and it doesn't need saved. It's done what it needs to do at the end of the day. But I mean, if anything, maybe it could focus on non-superhero people shows. If anything, it's like, hey, we need something that's like S.H.I.E.L.D., but we could put on Disney Plus. It could be something like that, but that would probably be the only takeaway from it.
I mean, just start watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when the streaming service launches, and by the time you finish it, since it's like a long drama series, then maybe Infinity War will finally be up on the service when you're done.
Yeah, or well, Infinity War. I mean, season 7 might be on there by the time you get done with it at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, Bob Iger did say you will need a Disney Plus subscription to keep up with the MCU going forward, which that makes sense. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I saw that was kind of like the bigger kind of point of tension throughout the week. I saw some people just saying, Psh, I consider the MCU done after Endgame. That's where I'm going to stop watching it.
Yeah, bullshit.
I don't really know how to feel. It's kind of like a no-win situation. I feel like if Bob Iger said like, oh, you don't have to watch them, they'll be kind of encapsulated on their own, I would just be going, well, that's dumb. Like, these are just going to be like standalone series that don't connect to the MCU at all. Like, that's kind of what everybody wants with this whole cinematic universe, that it's all connected. And then if he goes around and say you're gonna have to watch, and people are like, oh, that's bullshit, I don't want to give you my money. So
I mean, it's gonna get it anyway. If they're gonna, I mean, what's the price of like $6 a month to catch up right before Doctor Strange comes out to watch 2 series? Like, that's not bad.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're like, I don't know. I think I'm just on Twitter a little bit too much. I feel like people just complain about a lot, and they just feel like they need to get a tweet out there in the world to feel like they did something productive that day. But it's just like, if you're so mad and you don't want Disney Plus, just go on Wikipedia and read the synopsis for the series. It's going to be a very short season. It's like 6 episodes. It's not going to take you long to read the plot summary, and then you can just go watch Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, and you'll be fine. Just get over it.
Yeah, it's totally. I mean, it's not like, I think you can probably watch the movies without watching the shows. Just kind of like they did, but this is all new. This is a whole new experience, right? Like, I wouldn't tell someone to go watch Infinity War without watching the other 20 movies before it. Or Endgame. Like, hey, yeah, just go watch Endgame. It'll catch you right up with the past 10 years.
Yeah, I feel like people are trying to carry over this same sentiment that they have for like DLC and video games, where it's just like, oh, you're not getting the whole video game unless you give them more money. But it's like, this isn't the same argument. This is different. It's just like, if you're reading like a summer event in a comic book or something like that, like if you want all of the story, you need to go in, you need to read you don't need to read all of the offshoots, but at least hit the major characters. Like, you probably don't have to read like the spinoff for like some random X-Men character, but like you might want to read the spinoff for Spider-Man since he's a main flagship character or something like that. So I don't know. People just want to complain, Chris. That's all I can say.
They do.
And I feel like with the streaming cost of Disney Plus being so low, it's just like the stakes are so low to begin with. Now, if this was like a $20 streaming service, people could put a little bit more merit into the complaint, but I don't know. This is just falling on deaf ears over here. We're just not the people to complain to about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much what we would call a first world problem. If you can't shell out the $7 to watch 2 shows before you go watch your big movie, like, then don't go watch the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and this is always just seems very strange to sympathize with a major corporation, because they don't need your sympathy whatsoever. They'll be just fine. But like, just put yourself in the shoes of a business person. This is a good business move, so don't be surprised that it happened. Like, of course you want people to subscribe to your streaming service, so you give them like content that keys into all the stuff that you're watching anyway. Yeah. I don't know.
Everyone wants everything connected, but they don't want it. They don't want to watch it all, I guess, is what the complaints have been. So
these are the same people complaining about the all of the other streaming services out there. They're worried that it's going to be sucking all their money. Just, cable's more expensive and it has commercials, so be quiet.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. But speaking of that, on top of this, Loki will apparently tie into Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. And I kind of postulated this earlier. It was like, he's dealing with magic. Loki's a magic user, and if his, if magic has to do with this multiverses, does his in-game appearance cause multiple universes? What has Loki done to kick this off, kind of thing? So, I think that's very interesting. And then someone also saw the production company for Loki has a 1 in the title, which is very rare unless it's getting like a multiple seasons kind of thing. So like, I forget what the name was, but it was like Mystical Magic Maker 1 LLC, and they don't usually put the number in there unless it's going to get a season 2. Or
that wouldn't be surprising at all if it got a multiple seasons. I mean, Apple Plus just launched and they renewed like all of their shows for a second season before it even aired, so I think they can pull it off. And also, they're shorter run episodes, so it feels like a second season will feel more like a full run of episodes for a normal season. This makes me think of what is a multiverse in the MCU. So when they were fracturing all of these different realities, trying to get the Infinity Stones in Endgame, were they making multiverses right there? Is this kind of like a Back to the Future scenario where these realities always existed, or what exactly is going on here? Is this something that Doctor Strange is going to need to fix? Is that what his movie is going to be about? He's going to have to fix the ramifications of what they did in Endgame. I'm really curious.
Yeah, I mean, all of them seem to get wrapped up quickly, except for the one with Loki, because he got away with the Tesseract, and he never did before. So I'm excited to see kind of where this goes and what that does. So just a little over a year till that one comes around. I do.
I don't mean to go back to my soapbox with these shows connecting or if they do or don't, but I'm just trying to think of the type of person who cares so much about this, because I gotta imagine there's two types of people that watch the MCU movies. There are people that are all in, like us, that watch all of them. They try to keep track of the story. They go check them out in the theaters. And then you just have the casual people anyway that like skip movies every once in a while. They only go to the theater when they hear there's something unique or different in this film. So it just seems like if you're that type of person, like, you weren't going to be watching these streaming shows anyway. So I don't know. I'm crushing the soapbox. I'm lighting it on fire, and we'll move on.
All right. Well, in that case, let me go ahead and say I had someone reach out to me this week who's working on WandaVision. Inside
scoop, inside exclusive Superhero Slate scoop.
Yes. So a lot of shows are in production. Black Widow just finished production. What did they say? What else would we say? Black Winter Soldier's doing production. What's the other movie that's coming out? Shang-Chi, I think, is in production. Eternals.
Isn't Miss Marvel kicking up production? Like pre-production at least?
In April it starts. So probably pre-production. But WandaVision is filming somewhere. I'm not going to say where because I don't want to give away what this guy does. But he walked through the sets and said there are multiple sets for different decades being built for this show.
Ooh, decades. So
yeah.
It makes me hard. It's hard to imagine that this would be time travel again.
I don't think
so. So it makes me think that Wanda is going crazy. And she's imagining things.
Or I wouldn't say imagining. I mean, she has the reality altering abilities. So I definitely think this is something to do with reality altering, something like that. But I mean, I don't know if the actors have been there yet, but the sets are definitely built or being built as we speak. So I thought that was cool for them to reach out to me and be like, they're working on WandaVision, which is, I didn't know they were already working on the show, with it being literally after Loki in the set. So it makes me think maybe there's a lot of post-production on this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a lot of visual effects involved here. I'm curious if Wanda is going to be her own villain in this series. I don't know a whole lot about the deep cuts of Scarlet Witch and her character in the comic book, so I don't know if she has like a very well-known antagonist. But maybe she's just her own bad guy, and it's just going to be her kind of mental breakdown and the possibility of Vision not returning or returning.
Well, they do. I mean, everyone has. I mean, even Feige said with Scarlet Witch showing up in Doctor Strange, maybe she creates another dimension on accident, where her perfect life exists, and that's part of these multiverse kind of things going on later. So I don't know, but I mean, that's great that they're in production. Like that makes them feel more real than just a title card at a convention, so.
Oh, Chris, I'm so sorry. I burned the soapbox, but I forgot I had another one right behind me. Let me step back up on it. Even if people are complaining about the interconnectivity of these series, like all you have to do is wait for all of these episodes to drop. And then just like when the last episode drops, just buy 1 month of Disney Plus, which is cheaper than any movie ticket in the heartland, and then just watch it. Like it just makes me very frustrated. It's just like you're getting premium content, and the hours for the cost is actually a better return, because if it's like 6 1-hour episodes, that's basically getting like 2 to 3 movies for like half the price of a movie ticket. So I just don't. And then you'll have Disney Plus for a whole month, and you can watch all of this other stuff. This is the greatest thing about streaming services. You can dump them and pick them back up whenever you want. Ooh, man. Okay, Chris, what should I do with this soapbox? Should I just like throw it into a ravine?
Yeah. Just.
All right, here we go.
Thank you for the.
There we go. Well, no, that's actually what happened. I'm right in front of a ravine, Chris.
Oh Lord. Anyway, Just an update. Hawkeye was originally going to be a movie before it was rewritten for the online streaming service show.
Yeah,
which is
okay.
interesting. I never would have guessed that.
So it kind of makes me think that these were going to be maybe the send-offs for Scarlet or for Black Widow and Hawkeye. I mean, they're very much a unit. They're a team. So it seems like the actors maybe would be treated as similarly with their contracts. But it makes sense that both of these stories might be handing over the mantle to another character.
Right. And I mean, do we need a Hawkeye movie? What does that look like? I guess. At the end of the day.
Lots of quivers.
Yeah, lots of arrows. Him just going around picking up arrows after he shot them, like scouring battlefields for arrows to put back in.
One thing I would really like, actually, like if Hawkeye's going to be training a new person, I would love him to just go through his like stockpile of different arrows. Now, this one's a punching bag. This one's a grappling hook. This one's a taser. Like I would just like sit down for like 10 minutes and just watch him just go through different arrows.
This one says bang when you let go of the rope. It's like the gun, but it does it with the
this one is strictly for parties. It releases confetti. Do not mistake this for any other arrow or you will kill somebody.
That arrow, don't use that arrow. It's the red arrow. So, yeah. So Hawkeye coming up as a show on Disney Plus later. I don't know how late. It was the last one announced at San Diego Comic-Con, but now they've announced more. Like Moon Knight, which got, like we said, mentioned the top show, got a head writer is Jeremy Slater, who developed and created the Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
Yeah, he was
we're both big fans of.
Yeah, it sounds like he was the head writer, which is, I believe, in this situation is distinctly different from the showrunner. So this person was just the lead of the writing team. I don't know how big their writers' room was actually. So this could have been a very intimate situation. So it makes me a little nervous just because we're obviously very excited for season 2 of Umbrella Academy. But if this news is just dropping now, there's a chance that the writing for season 2 of Umbrella Academy could already be done. So we could be getting like 2 shows back to back with this head writer, which we apparently like because we liked Umbrella Academy. So I wonder if Netflix is kind of pissed that Disney poached this writer, but it seems like we said, with all of these shows being relatively short, I would imagine the writing process maybe isn't too intensive compared to maybe a 12 or 13 episode Umbrella Academy series. Which was that 10 episodes or 13? I don't remember.
I think it was 8, wasn't it?
Oh,
no, 8 or 10.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, this
10.
is just kind of this might just be the life of a writer in Hollywood now with these shorter series. As they can just kind of bounce around. We don't have to worry about them being locked up for too long with a different property. But yeah, I'm down with this. This is awesome news.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is the history of Jeremy Slater before he actually got to do something good like Umbrella Academy, because he wrote the original script or hired to write the original script for the Fantastic Four film in 2015 for the 2016 movie, but like they didn't do anything at all with it, like what he did. Like what's his name? Josh Trank rewrote it and came up with that awful one.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything in that Fantastic Four movie came out how it was supposed to. So I would almost hope the movie was so bad overall in all categories, it's just a wash for everybody. So like if you're like some sort of like sound mixer or sound designer for Fantastic Four and you go to get a new job and they're just like, I won't hold that against you. That whole thing was a shit show. It probably wasn't your fault.
Yeah, and then he also did the first draft for the Death Note movie on Netflix.
Oh, I never watched that.
Yeah, I heard mixed things, but I mean, you can't hold everything against him because he did come up with Umbrella Academy, which is good. Now he's going to be doing Moon Knight, which I'm very excited. He seemed very, very excited about that on Twitter. And then on the flip side, that the She-Hulk show hires Jessica Gao as a head writer, who is known for probably, for people listening to the show, the Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty.
Yes. And I also saw this other bullet point you added. I didn't know this. She was also a writer on Silicon Valley?
Yes, very much so. So she's got a more varied career under her belt.
Well, I mean, those two things right there are extremely nerdy pedigree, which any comic book fan or fan of She-Hulk should be excited to see. The Pickle Rick episode is hilarious. I mean, if you just wanted like one episode to kind of encapsulate the insanity of Rick and Morty, that would be the Pickle Rick episode from season 3, if I remember right. Actually, I think season 4 is premiering tonight, so people can get back into the Rick and Morty mood. I think this is an awesome hire. It's great that it's a woman who is going to be the head writer over at She-Hulk. That makes total sense. I don't think we know who the showrunner is yet, so I guess we'll wait to see that to kind of get a more of an idea of maybe what the show is going to end up being. But yeah, this is all good news, and seems like Disney Plus is a draw for any potential creative out there. It's like, if Disney calls, I'm going to answer because they're going to pay me well, and I'm going to get to do like an awesome show. I saw that Jessica Gao on Twitter was saying that she loves She-Hulk. This isn't just like a one-time thing where she's going to have to read a backlog of comic books. Like, apparently she's loved the character for a really long time. So, man, this is a good back-to-back news right here.
Well, the other thing she wrote for, what she thinks She-Hulk's going to be more of a comedy is Gal also wrote for Robot Chicken.
Oh,
and
cool.
That put her into the series that never aired, the Star Wars Detour show. That was like the Seth Green animated goofy thing that they never made.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And apparently, I did some research. I had this tab pulled up already. 39 episodes of that show were produced with 62 additional scripts done, but they've never released one of them.
Holy shit. Well, just put that on the shelf next to New Mutants, dust off some room, because we're probably never going to see that either.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to see this little weird show. Like a Disney Plus thing, they just put it on there and like enjoy.
That would be fun. And the same thing with like what is it? Is it New Warriors or Brave Warriors? I always forget the title of it. New Warriors. Man, I just love to see the pilot for that too.
Yeah, things we never did anything with. Great. That's a great category for a streaming service. Also in that same vein, there's rumors that Ironheart is rumored to be looking to be developed for Disney Plus, looking to take on the younger quote unquote Avengers roles from the comic books, turning them into things, especially with Miss Marvel coming up, and possibly Ant-Man's daughter. I don't know if you're familiar with Ironheart, but Riri Williams took over for Tony Stark while he was gone in the comic books. Like,
was he gone, or was he like in a coma or something like that? I feel like I vaguely remember the story.
I say gone because I don't remember, but he was like, she had an AI version of Tony Stark that kind of guided her through this stuff. So
yeah, I think we talked about this as like a rumor with a heavy rock assault a few weeks ago on the show, because there was a lot of other stuff coming out of potentially being a show. And we talked about this. Feels like it's kind of treading on a similar story that they did in Spider-Man Far From Home. So hopefully they could just find a way to switch it up, and maybe she could just be distinctly different, or at least separated from Tony Stark in some way. One thing that I think would be cool, if you're going to kind of continue on the character of Iron Man in some way, I would love to see the kind of the abandonment of all the nanoparticles and stuff like that. And I would like to see like actual pieces of armor again. I mean, they could have their own little rockets on them if you want to go back to that phase where they can fly onto the person who wants to wear them. But I would like to see it grounded once again in like physical pieces. So if Ironheart's going to be a thing, I hope it's like actual physical armor again, and not just like these nebulous nanobots that can kind of just magically do anything. Because if those are going to exist, I can only imagine somebody like Tony Stark being able to control them, because it's just so sophisticated in every sense of their conception that I can't imagine like a teenage girl doing it. So we'll scale it back a little bit. Kind of the same thing with the Spider-Man costume. I'm glad he wasn't the Iron Spider for the whole movie, because he just kind of would have been he would have been OP, would have been overpowered. So let's downgrade these teenagers. They're getting too big for their britches.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was just more of a mechanical one anyway, so I don't know. I didn't follow her story, but it looks like they might be leading towards the younger version, the Champions book, which is a lot of the quote-unquote younger people with powers coming together.
It just seems like they are totally laying the groundwork for a Young Avengers type of situation. Yeah. We're just seeing hints of it all over the place. I mean, we're going to get like a younger Hawkeye replacement. We're going to get Ironheart. We're gonna get Miss Marvel. I'm hoping Spidey's the leader of them all in some way.
There's a lot of opportunity there. But on the flip side, they're also rumored to be developing Thunderbolts, which is the earliest incarnation of this team was the villains masquerading as heroes. But everyone is unsure if this is going to be like a show, Disney Plus show, or like a movie kind of thing, a Phase 5 kind of film. So. I mean, we've talked about Thunderbolts. We talked about Dark Avengers. This could be the Dark Avengers kind of thing. which was kind of the Thunderbolts a little bit for a few years in the comic books. I don't know if we have enough. Do we have enough villains to masquerade as heroes for this? Yeah. I don't know.
It's like this weird flow chart where people say like, oh, the Suicide Squad over at Warner Brothers, oh, we kind of describe them. It's almost kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it makes sense that you would have James Gunn going between those two movies. But then at the same time, if I look at Thunderbolts, the Thunderbolts kind of remind me a little bit of the Suicide Squad. So it's just like by the transverse property, are the Thunderbolts just the Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, what's going on here? And like you made a good point. Are there enough villains? I mean, the biggest critique that the MCU has always gotten is they're a little weak on the villains, and the cool ones they have always end up dying. So it's not like you're going to see a Warmonger coming back at all.
Yeah, it's like
Killmonger, not Warmonger. Killmonger.
I mean, Ironmonger was the one in Iron Man 1. So yeah, you were close. You were right in the middle of all these.
The Monger Squad.
Yeah. Killmonger, Ironmonger, Warmonger. I mean, who else do we have? Loki Monger. Godmonger.
Let's just keep saying monger until it doesn't have meaning anymore. I have that same problem with the word anvil. I'll just like sit down and just say anvil over and over and over again. I'm just like, what is this word I'm saying? It has no meaning anymore.
What a random fucking word.
Yeah, I know, man.
Anyway. So a fun story this week I saw pop up. The Eternals actors were evacuated from set after finding a bomb from World War II in the area.
That is so cool.
And everyone's like, Eternals actors evacuated from set because of bomb, and then you go read about like, oh, it was just like a bomb that like hadn't been set off since like World War II era, and they just happened upon it, kind of thing.
Apparently, that's like a real problem like out there in the world. There's a little YouTube channel that I watch. This guy named Tom Scott. He makes these short little educational videos. He like travels around Europe to kind of these different historical sites, and I believe he went to a town once where there was like a no trespassing lake because there was like a mine in there, like that still could be active and could explode. I don't know, man. Just I guess we don't have to worry about that being Americans. There's not too many renegade landmines or World War II bombs just all around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not something you would normally think about, in today's world, because we're about to hit the 20s again, Mike, and realize that.
We have to worry about Indian burial grounds, because if movies have taught me anything, is you do not want to build anything on top of an Indian burial ground, or you'll be haunted and tortured for the rest of your life by ghosts and ghouls. And that could possibly be worse than a bomb, so I don't know what to tell you, Chris.
I don't know either. But that was a fun fact. There really was no one was bombing the set of the Eternals. It was just an old bomb.
That could have been our clickbait article. Bomb on the set of Eternals, question mark, exclamation mark.
You still have time to change the thumbnail image. I will not.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm not going to tell you how to live. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the sequel, was just announced last week, but the producers, I think it was Phil Lord or Chris Miller, who said that the Japanese Spider-Man from the live-action show will be in the upcoming sequel. And if you don't remember him, he pilots a huge mech called Leopardon in the show. He's goofy as heck.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about this little announcement was, I think it was just like somebody on Twitter just tweeted out to them that said, oh man, I would love to see the Japanese Spider-Man in the next version of Spider-Verse, and he just retweeted and replied to it. That's just like, yeah, we're looking at putting him into the movie. So I think they said he's already modeled, or they're already like sketching him up or something like that. I think that's awesome and hilarious. If you want to know more about that Spider-Man, they did an honest trailer over at Screen Junkies for specifically the Japanese Spider-Man TV series, and it's actually really good. It's really funny, and it's like a crash course of catching up with the character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about him other than the fact he is like, they just took a lot of liberties. They just put a guy in a Power Rangers in a Spider-Man outfit instead. Just kind of go for it, dude. So.
Yeah, apparently the way it's like written, it's like Spudaman, yeah. Supaidaman. I'll put the link in our show notes so you can go check out that trailer, everybody.
There you go. Look forward to that and upcoming Spider-Man and Spider-Verse 2. Helstrom is also one of those remaining shows on Hulu that they have not canceled yet, but they are filming. And they have added previous Colossus actor from X-Men 1, 2, 3, Daniel Cudmore, in a recurring role as some sort of nurse in this film somewhere.
Weird. So. I mean, this is just strange to hear news from the show, Helstrom, because honestly, I was just expecting all of this to die off with Kevin Feige at the helm. I wonder if maybe this is a like a contractual type thing of maybe they were just too far into production to shut it down in some way. I could see this honestly just being a 1-season show that doesn't get promoted at all, and then everybody just moves on to something else after that, because it just seems like, where does this fit into the grand scheme that's being built over at Marvel now? These are technically X-Men property and X-Men characters, and they are not ready to relaunch X-Men or Mutants yet, so not really sure where this show lives.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those just, hey, here's your 1 season and it's done kind of thing. Like what Swamp Thing had on DC Universe, and it'll just live on Hulu, and they'll just probably Disney Plus and just never reference it, kind of thing.
Know what they should do. The creators of this show should just understand that the position that they're in, they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place, between 2 big media buyouts, and they're just kind of screwed now. And they just should make the craziest show that can ever be made. They got nothing to lose. They should just go all out and just make the weirdest streaming show that's ever made. And then that's honestly probably their only shot of getting a second season, of just making something so irreverent and just weird and out there that people are just going to beg for a second season no matter what. So there could be an opportunity in here somewhere.
Yeah, but no matter how many people beg, if it's like, this doesn't fit our long-term game plan, they're not going to make a season 2.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if the show was just so good it swept the Emmys? It would just be like a weird scenario. It would never happen. Anybody in Vegas would love to take your money on that bet because you would not win. But wouldn't that be hilarious? They won every Emmy category that year, and then Marvel's just like, you're not getting a second season. It does not fit within our structure of our cinematic universe. That'd be so funny.
I would.
It's not gonna happen, but that would be funny.
I would laugh so hard. But it could be good. We don't know. They've done good things. Legion came out really, really well.
Yeah, Legion was good.
So there's that. I found out this weekend that my wife does not know there's a Marvel's Avengers video game coming out.
How could she not know?
I don't think I've shown anybody the footage, because I've watched a lot of footage. But apparently, this video game will have alternate endings in this game based on the choices you make, which is interesting. I'm excited to do that. And then also that the credits will not be the end of the game, as in most single player games. There will be more releasing post-launch, more levels, more characters, more stuff to do. So once you beat the story, you can go back and replay with all your friends.
And didn't they say that? I don't remember their creed on DLC. There's not going to be DLC, or there is a season pass. I don't remember.
No, there is. All the levels and characters will be free. It's the skins that cost the money.
So they're kind of going this hybrid Fortnite approach, where you're going to have to buy the game outright, but then we're just going to sneak microtransactions if you want to visually look different.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sneak. I think it's just one of those things this doesn't affect your gameplay. If I'm playing it, I don't have to worry about, did you buy the new level?
Yeah, no, this is the way to do it, and this doesn't bother me at all. But apparently, I'm not a child anymore, and I don't have children. But I've heard some people out there that there's stories of kids getting bullied, that they don't have cool Fortnite skins, that their friends will rag on them for just having default skins. I think that's sad, but also kind of funny at the same time. I can only imagine these teenagers looking back on themselves when they're adults going oh my god, I can't believe that we thought a digital skin of a character was a big deal. But kids can be mean and cruel, so raise your children to not make fun of other people for just having free default skins.
Well, doesn't matter. Isn't the gameplay what matters? How good you are, rather than what you
Yes, it is, but kids are not rational, Chris.
Yeah.
We know that because we used to be them. We weren't rational when we were teenagers.
No, still questionable at this rate too. Speaking of video games, Star Wars: The Last Jedi comes out on Friday, and I'm very excited to play it. I did find out you get it.
It's not called The Last Jedi.
Or not Last Jedi, the final, or Jedi Fallen Order. Sorry, you're right. But I was thinking about it, and apparently the orange lightsaber blade you get for pre-ordering is only available in a pre-order. It's not a get it before you would find it in the game kind of thing.
Weird. You know, I never considered orange as a color for a lightsaber. Is that just because he has red hair? He's a red-haired character.
No, I mean, well, they used yellow back for Jedi power battles when I played that game, and then in Knights of the Old Republic they had a whole spectrum of blade colors.
I'm just imagining a bunch of younglings just making fun of a youngling that doesn't have a colored lightsaber. You know, it's like just light. It's not colored in any way. It's just a white light. It's just like, look at this loser over here. I got a purple lightsaber. You got a yellow one. This dude over here's got orange, and you don't even have a color. We're gonna make fun of you and bully you.
Well, he'll just go buy the DLC for his lightsaber then.
Chris, wrong. It was a trick. It was a trick story. It was a trick question. It doesn't matter. They all get slaughtered by Anakin.
That's true. Even the younglings. So that comes out Friday. If anyone didn't pre-order that and you want to get that orange blade, now's your last week to do it. That also comes out the same day as the new Pokemon game. I'm actually off work Friday. I'm gonna play a lot of video game.
There you go.
But speaking of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the animated show. We may have talked about this before. I don't know how old this article was, but couldn't remember. But the Star Wars animated show will debut season 7 in February on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So you have some time to catch up on that if you want to, Mike, with your new streaming service starting Tuesday.
Oh.
And this last season will have 12 episodes, and it's probably, I think they said, the final season for the show, which is fine. It's 7 seasons for an animated show that gets really, really, really dark and heavy over time. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good run. So I'll take that. I also saw some studies some people were doing this week, some companies about media consumption, that Marvel and Star Wars movies have 66% of the people who've watched them go to the theater to watch Marvel and Star Wars movies.
Okay.
And then of the people who watch DC movies, 73% wait and watch them on a streaming service instead of going to the theaters for DC movies.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Box office numbers lately say otherwise for DC, but they did say of the people who watched the latest Fantastic Beasts movies, which was a Warner Brothers property, 75% of those will not go to the theater for the third one.
I mean, it's a lot like the VHS recommendation back in the day of like, oh, should I wait for this to come out as a rental or should I go see it in theater? DC just by definition seems like the type of movies that you wait until they come out and you can rent them. You don't have to invest a lot of money. Things have been changing recently, which is good for them. But man, Fantastic Beasts is just like a whole nother thing. I saw they were in the news recently this week. I don't remember what it was, but we're not on the Fantastic Beast news beat, if you will. But man, I was just like thinking, I'm not really looking forward to that next Fantastic Beast movie. Well, so I'm definitely in that 75%.
It was they hired a Harry Potter writer, one of the movies, to come back for the new one because they lost so many people.
Yeah, so it's not just going to be strictly J.K. Rowling penning the script. She's going to basically be getting like a writing partner, if you will. So maybe she probably still has final say on the script, possibly, but it seems like maybe they're going to bring somebody else in and be like, maybe we should do this instead of your crazy idea, J.K.
Well, and also they did say they were doubling down on their five more movies thing. So maybe she's doing the overall points and he's writing the finer scripts in between all the points.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I think she's a good, kind of from a George Lucas point of view, she's got a good vision, but, let somebody else execute it. I mean, I think I've said this before on the show, but I think the whole structure of Fantastic Beasts is just flawed from its very core. The more and more you dig into the lore of the Wizarding world, the more it just doesn't make sense, like why these wizards would hide in a different world, what's going on with these world wars, why don't humans know where they're living, what's going on here. It seems like this should be more locked down, like a Men in Black situation. They should be wiping their memory every time something happens, and they kind of did that with the rain in the first movie, but it doesn't seem to be very important like it was in Men in Black, where like we can't let this secret out. That was almost like the underlying story through all those movies. So I just think it's structurally flawed. So for me, I don't think it can be 100% safe, but I'm going to be going to these movies no matter what because our wives are huge fans. So I just hope they can find a way to make it a little bit more entertaining for me.
I enjoyed the last one, but it's probably because I don't care enough about anything in these movies for me to be like, oh my gosh, they totally changed the world and the lore and all this stuff. I'm like, that was actually pretty entertaining because they actually did something. Yeah. But yeah, like you bring up a good point. They always go so big. Like, how do you hide this from the world whenever like no one knows about magic users? So like they should stay small and then go big in the last one.
Yeah, it worked out extremely well in Harry Potter because it was just isolated to one school and school children, and everything was through their filter and their prism. So it just worked out really, really well. And we've actually been rewatching the Harry Potter movies because they're still good. Even the first two, which get ragged on a lot, are still kind of fun to revisit. So.
Those HBO Max with one media.
I won't punch down on those original Harry Potter movies, and we're actually checking out the Cursed Child up in San Francisco in January. My wife got tickets for that, so I believe they're turning that into a movie too eventually.
Well, they should just get it over with. But yeah, anyway, more people want to see Marvel and Star Wars in theaters than they do DC. At least when they ran the study. So
shocked. Insert shocked Pikachu face here.
Oh my gosh. Lastly, the Batman. Well, not lastly. Next to lastly, the Batman casting news blowing my mind here, Mike. I don't know what to make of this. I gotta get your thoughts on this. Andy Serkis of Age of Ultron, Black Panther, now Venom 2 fame, has been cast as Alfred Pennyworth.
What?
This is a Pennyworth show I'd watch. I would watch this one. But
I mean, the first thing I do is I know what Andy Serkis looks like, but it helps to go to Google Images and just get another look. I mean, he looks like he's of a certain age where he could be a slightly younger Alfred. I mean, this isn't like a Pennyworth epic series Alfred, because if we're assuming that this is kind of a younger kind of year one Batman, Alfred wouldn't be totally elderly, but he would be, as they say, a man of a certain age. So visually, I could see it, and we're big fans of Serkis over here at Superhero Slate.
He's motion capturing an older person.
That would be hilarious. Or what if they just like in his contract, he's just like, no, I can never appear on screen, and all of the Ulysses Claw that we saw in the Marvel movies were all just really good renderings of him. Yeah. Did you know? I didn't even realize this. The Mysterio scenes in Spider-Man Far From Home, where he was going through that snow globe and skeleton Iron Man scene. I don't really know what to call that dream sequence, I guess, if you will, or the that was from head to toe all CGI. Like, I was expecting at the very least that somebody would have been in a totally green screen room for like reference or something like that. No, from head to toe it was generated with computers. So I think that only works really because you have Spider-Man, who's in a costume, who's always CG to begin with, so it makes sense to be CG from head to toe. But I guess we're reaching.
It was very.
Yeah, trippy. I guess we're reaching Andy Serkis fictional. I mean, they're bringing back James Dean, right? I mean, I guess Serkis seems like the type of guy that would stipulate in his contract and send out one final tweet before he dies on his deathbed that says, "Please put me in every movie you can. I don't care what it is." I think it would just be hilarious.
Well, recently the movie we did watch, Gemini Man, Will Smith is entirely CGI in that in his younger self. Like, I don't even think it's like I don't think he acted like the mirror thing and they skinned him down. I think it's all CG for that secondary person. So, yeah. Anyway, Colin Farrell is in talks to play the Penguin.
Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I guess I guess that's a totally different casting than everybody else thought. Everybody was expecting a fat guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they're taking the Gotham approach, because he kind of looks like the guy who played Penguin in Gotham.
Yeah, I guess they could. I mean, the Penguin, his character doesn't necessarily have to be fat, Yeah. You just got to put him in a Victorian trench coat.
Yeah, he has to be wearing a penguin suit. Mm-hmm. And lastly, the biggest rumor I saw, I haven't seen much else on this. I saw it in several things, but like Matthew McConaughey is in talks to play Two-Face in this movie as well.
It is a strange juxtaposition because we're coloring this movie as an early on Batman, right? But an early on Batman is going to have all of these established villains already out there, I suppose. So maybe they can take a slightly different story approach to where these villains have always kind of existed, or they're starting to become on the rise, and then that's when Bruce Wayne's just like, I got to become Batman. There's a dude out there with two faces causing havoc. We got a dude in a Victorian trench coat that's like throwing penguin bombs at people. I got to become the Batman. So maybe it's like it's It's the tail that's wagging the dog kind of situation.
Well, I can see more. Like, you mentioned year 1. I don't think it's year 1. I think this is year 5 of Batman. He's spent 5 years. These people have popped up over the past 5 years. And if it's based on the Long Halloween, then yeah, like, you know, they've all finally teamed. This is his Sinister Six. They've all teamed together to mess with him at once. So, I think these are not bad castings at the end of the day. I think they're interesting, you know, conversational worth at the end of the day.
You know, I'm looking forward to Batman becoming a thing again, because with Christopher Nolan, I love those first 2 films, and I really did not like was it The Dark Knight Rises? Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the way that trilogy ended. And then we got Batfleck, which didn't pan out. So, you know, I just hope this goes well. Just give me like 3 solid Batman movies, like complete a trilogy that actually holds up to the idea of a trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I just make it standalone and make it good the first time, you know. The Batfleck thing kind of was like, hey, let's put him in this movie where he's secondary to everybody else all the way around. And yeah, let's see what they can do with him. I'm okay with that. So we'll see where that goes. And lastly, this is the last bit. The Boys on Amazon season 2 was they apparently just wrapped filming and will be airing season 2 mid 2020 on Amazon.
Hey, so that is a quicker turnaround, because we got The Boys in the end of July. I think
it was after Comic-Con, so
yeah,
end of July, 1st of August.
Yeah, it would have been the end of July. So if we're thinking mid-2020, maybe June or something like that. So this could be kind of like a 10-month turnaround. That's pretty cool. Usually it's the other way around. We have to wait like at least a year to get more.
Yeah, and they seem to be you know, greenlighting that pretty quick. Because, I mean, I hate the yearly wait. You know this. You probably agree. Why would we wait a year for something so good? So, yeah, there's that. We talked about Umbrella Academy earlier. I'm like, when's that coming out? I want to watch the season 2 of that. So... all these great shows coming back again, all this anticipation.
I feel like the next season of Umbrella Academy, if they're on a yearly schedule, should be soon. Wasn't Umbrella Academy like in like Q1 of this year?
It was March. I think it was March or April, around my birthday.
Oh, okay, yeah. So hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer for more Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're filming or done filming, one of the two. So, very, very excited for that. Great shows coming up next year.
Yeah.
Speaking of great shows, we've wrapped up this great show, Mike, this great episode. And if people want to know what you're up to, where can they find you at?
Well, they can find me on my soapbox over at Mike Royer Design.
He's got more. Don't tempt him.
At Mike Royer Design on Instagram and Twitter, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, see what home improvement you're doing over there with your pops, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Valdan, Valdan, or Instagram, Valdan87. Check out that time lapse; it's pretty cool. That's not even. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, that's a lot of pots." So I'm like, that's maybe a quarter of what's on the wall behind me where the camera was. So maybe I'll put up some photos of those on there, and then now these are up, I can start doing my photography with them again. I'm very excited. I can also head over to Comic UI, and then also I will be at GalaxyCon in Louisville coming up at the end of November, Mike. So if anyone else will be at GalaxyCon and wants to hang out, wants to see me, let me know. We'll be. I will be there. Mike will not. Because he's a sucker. Yep. So if people want to know what we're doing, what else we got going on, I think we talked last week. Our next review is actually Star Wars, so we have a little bit. But if they want to see the old episodes, where can they find that at?
Well, also, you got to stay tuned, because we will be talking about episode 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian next week for sure. So you're going to want to tune in for that. But the best thing to do is visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host our show and to get our awesome show notes. So I mentioned that Japanese Spider-Man Honest trailer. You can get that link in our show notes and catch right up on that character and just read all the stuff that we talked about. If you got lost anywhere along the way when I was throwing soapboxes all around in maternity wards, injuring babies with my soapbox. I'm sorry about that, mothers. But you can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere else you like to listen to us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we got merch over at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you guys out there. Whatever you got to say, we want to hear it. Let us know if you come across any cool new exclusive snacks. Usually I feel like we're pretty on top of the snack beat. But if you see any sort of weird stuff out there that's like limited edition or like teaming up with some sort of brand and you're getting like a new exclusive flavor, we love that type of stuff.
Frozen 2 cereal.
Oh my gosh, no. But I'm not saying I don't like Frozen. I'm going to be watching Frozen 2 for sure. But we love hearing from you, and we love our super fans. So if you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here again next week, folks.
All right, we'll see you then.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
It was this or egg sandwich.
I feel
was like, I don't want to not enjoy it.